Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, it's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Huddle. We've been in a little hiatus for a couple weeks. We've had some computer issues. We've had all kinds of stuff going on, but now we're back. It's football. We got a lot to cover, so we might be on for a little while tonight. Look, we have huge baseball stuff we got to get to, NBA free agency, and of course football. So listen. We're going to go with football last because you know how we get here. We are a football-heavy show, and if we start with football, we'll never get back to the other stuff. So let's get going, and we'll start off. Why don't we start off with your Phillies? There.
Right. Okay. The Phillies. I like what they did. Going out and getting Gibson for a prospect who I think now, you know how it is with prospect, until you see it on the field and see it on the field consistently. You know, these guys come out sometimes and you get in the league and the pitchers haven't seen you, or, you know, the hitters haven't seen that pitcher, whichever it may be. And these guys do real well, and then they adjust. And then some of these guys obviously can adjust and become, really good ball players, but some you see don't. So I want to see it over time too. So to get Kyle Gibson, who was an all-star this year from the Rangers, for Spencer Howard, I love the trade for the Phillies, and they get Ian Kennedy, who hasn't. It just seems like if you come to the Phillies, it's like bullpen hell no matter what, even if you've had a good pedigree. He's given up home runs in his first two appearances. Luckily, last night he was up 7-3, came in, gave up a 2-run homer. They still win 7-5. But it's crazy. The Phillies are the picture of mediocrity, but they're only 2.5 games out of the Mets. They're in the NFC East of baseball right now. They really are. Because now, look, once again, too, but it's because he injured, too. Injuries. The Mets, let's not forget, DeGrom's hurt now. He's out to September. He's been on and off the DL all year. The Mets have had a lot of injuries. Lindor is also hurt as well.
Right.
They did pick up Javi Baez from the Cubs, who I think was a nice pickup. But, man, the Mets, once they're healthy, I think they're the best team in the National League East. It's just, can they stay healthy? Because they just got Carrasco back. He had his first start. But, I really wonder if we're going to see DeGrom this year again. They say September now, but he really just hasn't been able to get a stretch where he's really played consistently without going on this injured list. It was looking like he was going to be the MVP there for a little bit, but a lot of question marks with the Mets. I do think down the line, obviously, they're the team to beat if they can be healthy, but it's any man's game right now because, and we'll see what happens with the race, but it's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, next I guess you want to go to your Yankees and talk about
absolutely, man. I mean, the Yankees just kind of, they went out, they got what they needed in left-handed bats, which have turned out to be tremendous. Callow, not Gallo. Did you say Gallo? No, it's Callow. Do you know what movies that's from?
Yes, I do. Of course, my cousin Vinny, man.
Yes.
Come on, yes. Man.
So yeah, and then of course Rizzo, Brett Rizzo, Rizzo is banging them out of the park, baby.
Yeah.
And which actually Saturday night, I took my daughter down to Miami, and we got to catch the Marlins game. And I got a quick story I want to tell you. So I walk out of the garage. You're in the dark garage. You walk out, that sun's hitting you. And I'm trying to read the sign and focus. I don't see the curb, bam, fall right on my face out in the middle of the street. Boom. So, I pop back up and I'm like, hey, I had to do that because, the Yankees won't win unless I do that. And some lady comes screaming at me, hey, you're limping. we need to call the paramedics. Next thing you know, Miami-Dade or Bravest come flying out, take care of me. Appreciate those guys. And then I got a wheelchair all the way from the street up to my seat. It was really, and then to boot, we got there early enough and my daughter got a ball and I didn't see who threw it. I know Cole was out there, Aaron Judge. There's a bunch of guys out there, they're taking BP and they would turn around, catch the ball, throw it up in the crowd. And but my daughter did get a ball at the game. Hey, where is that ball anyway? She's not paying attention to me.
No, hopefully she throws it at your head. Yeah. We got Bill Buckner here anyway, so you probably better off throw it at you. We might have an injury.
Next to a window.
Have an injury live on TV here. I like what the Yankees did, Coach. The only thing I would have went different, I know you like Gallo. I love Rizzo. I think he fits perfect in New York. Right. He has 2 big hits in the first 2 nights. He just fits for that team. And I like Gallo too. But if I were them, I would have preferred a Frazier type who went to the Padres just to put on the top of that lineup because there's a lot of strikeouts in that Yankees lineup. And you need guys to get on base. And if you could put a Frazier at the top of that lineup with a LeMahieu too, now you're starting to set that table for Judge and Stanton and Rizzo. And, plus they got a lot of players to find positions because Rizzo's a first baseman. Isn't Gallo a first baseman too?
No, he's an outfielder, but
you're right. He is the outfielder.
He's in the outfield. So where does Voit come? He's hurt. When he comes back, where does Luke Voit fit in? So
and I'm sure he's not happy either, Coach.
Right.
Because this was a guy who was expecting a big payday.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's not getting it now. I mean, I think did he not lead? I understand it was a shortened season. But didn't he lead the AL in home runs last year?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, I also would have liked to see the Yankees to get a starter.
I agree with that, but I was reading up on that, why they didn't. Apparently, Severino is doing really well in rehab and should be back within the net by September. So I think that's why they held off on that. But I still agree with you. I know that they should have gone with a
plus. But as long as he's been out, Coach, how can you count on him to come in September and be ready and pitching possibly October baseball in a month? I mean, essentially, you're going like from spring training into postseason baseball.
Right.
And look, they got a tough road to hoe. I mean, they are in depth-wise the best division in baseball, no doubt. Because you got Tampa Bay and Boston at the top fighting for first place, but you got a Toronto team that probably has the best lineup in baseball, and now they go out and get a nice frontline starter in Barrios from the Twins to add Drew. Look, that lineup's – and let's not forget, too, George Springer's killing the ball right now, too, for Toronto. And can you imagine you go Springer, Guerrero, and then I believe after that it is it Bichette? But they're just 5-6 deep in that lineup. That's just stud after stud after stud after stud. And then they got a guy like Biggio hitting like 7 or 8, who's a scrappy guy himself. So if they could get some starting pitching, other than obviously Ruin Barrios, and Barrios had a nice start in his first game there, it's going to be interesting. Also, we said about the Phillies too. Gibson, very good start in his first game for the Phillies.
Yeah, and I just saw today, you got Garrett Cole and Jordan Montgomery just got COVID.
And
that's two.
And Montgomery's actually been pitching good.
He's been playing pretty well. He's starting to come around, and now, so now you have 2 of your top rotation guys are, So what's up, Sammy? We'll get to your Washington football team.
We're talking a little baseball. Real quick before we get to the meat and potatoes, Sam, we don't you worry, buddy. But no, like we said, Coach, that's why I think they needed another starter. I mean, obviously you couldn't predict that Cole would get COVID and Montgomery, but they needed another arm. I'm not counting on Severino. And the other thing is, too, they've been going back and forth with Herman. That never does a young guy good. Right. And this perfect example is for the Phillies and Spencer Howard. They were going back and forth with him. Then they had they want to take him for the bullpen to make him a starter, and they were stretching him out, and he just couldn't get it right. It's very tough to switch between those mentalities. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you're a reliever. It's like, all right, I need to go out for an inning, let it loose, and just throw. To where, as as a starter, you got to be able to throw 90 to 100 pitches, stretch yourself out, control more, hit your spots more. You got to know, you're going through the lineup.
Right. And you got some
2-3 times.
You have room for error as a starting pitcher, but when you come in as a reliever, it's usually because there's guys on base. I got to start in an uncomfortable situation for guys that are used to that mentality of being a starter. So,
and mainly as a reliever, it's go in and get outs. You know what I mean? A lot of now times it's usually you're going to face a couple hitters. That's it. They have like the lefty specialists, and but. Coach, Tampa Bay is doing something right because every year I think they're done. And going into this year, they lost Snell and Morton, okay? Mm-hmm. And then if you'd have told me when Glasnow went out, it was pretty much their only starter, who is a guy that's going to go throw 5, 6, 7 innings. That's an all-star, top-of-the-line type starter on that team. And he's probably getting Tommy John. And they're still in first place. Right. I mean, how this organization is run, especially when you talk about the financial aspects. Now they went and got Nelson Cruz and added him to the lineup. But I just don't understand how they do it, Coach.
Again, they added a guy who's one and done. They're renting him for the.
Oh yeah, season. They're not going to take
because they're not going to pay a guy. Plus, isn't Cruz like he's 38? Isn't he?
No, 38. He's 40s.
Is he 40? Okay.
41,
I knew he was up there. I knew he was up there. So, but still, to me, when you talk about the money they spend compared to the Red Sox and Yankees and the fact that they're right there. Right. I mean, you look at the last couple of years, they've beaten the Yankees. They've actually have a great head-to-head record against the Yankees. Obviously the Red Sox. This year, I think the Yankees have only won 2 games. Against.
Obviously they beat them in the playoffs last year in that 7-game series to get into the World Series. So pretty crazy. Now, I know, Sammy, we're going to get ready over to football just in a second, but we can't not talk about what happened with the Dodgers. I mean, I think pretty much a tough day for the Padres. You get Frazier. Love the addition of Frazier to that lineup. But me and Coach hung out Thursday night where we go out with Stiz. And the talk is Scherzer's going to the Padres. Right. And I think the Nationals simply did that to get more out of the Dodgers, and they got it. You don't just not get Scherzer. You got to hear, too, that the Dodgers got Scherzer, and they get Trey Turner to add to already have Max Muncy All-Star, Corey Seager All-Star, Mookie Betts All-Star, Justin Turner All-Star, Cody Bellinger, MVP All-Star, although not having a great year. Albert Pujols coming off the bench. Right. And then, you obviously you have Scherzer now. Now you got Trey Turner, another All-Star. You got Kershaw, Buehler, All-Star. I mean, it's just amazing, just the money the Dodgers are putting out. And it's just it's just like the rich get richer in baseball. And that's the one thing.
The gap is getting wider. Yes, the gap is getting wider.
How can you compete with the Dodgers in the National League? I mean, look, anything can happen in baseball, but I don't think Bauer's going to be back this year, and that's why I think you see it getting pushed back. I've seen some articles, Coach, that's saying they don't want him back, meaning teammates. Right. Because there's some pictures that have come out that no matter what, even if it was consensual, I mean, you're an idiot. Like, you're a target. Even if I don't care if she's on video saying, give it to me. Like, meaning like the hits, like, you're an idiot. Like, you should know better that this could possibly come to bite you in the ass.
This is going to go wrong some way.
Right. Like, you're a moron. Like, if you want to do something like that, it better be some woman that you're married to and trust and know that not to be. So I don't care if it's consensual or not. It looks bad. And so I don't think he's going to be back this year. And that's why they go and get Scherzer. because I think Bauer, and I think they will opt out of that contract, and he will either maybe go nowhere or gets picked. So I'm sure somebody else to give him an opportunity because he can pitch. But I don't foresee him being on the Dodgers. That's why they went out and got Scherzer, obviously.
I agree with that, and I just think because I look at the Yankees keep him and Hahn. We're going to stay under the tax. We're going to stay under the tax, and I think well, guess what? Staying under the tax doesn't put you in the World Series. We've seen that. I'm sorry, we're not Tampa Bay,
right?
And we're New York. We are the number one market in all of sports. Okay, yeah. New York is the number one market, whatever sport you insert. Mm-hmm. So. If you're not spending over the luxury tax, I read an article that whatever the penalty is for that luxury tax is made up after one World Series game. One.
Right.
And you got to play at least 4.
Yeah.
So what I don't understand the rationale with the Yankees. Just spend the money and let's put some rings on some fingers, and let's move on with our day.
I think a part of that is Hank and not George. You know what I mean?
It is. It is because George would be screaming right
Hank
now. I
looks at it much more like of a business, to where George was just win, baby. I mean, I know that's another mantra, but that's all George cared about. Like, he knew he would get it in equity and everything else. And I think Hank's one of those nerds that wants to see the fans every year. Yeah.
Because George was more of a fan. He was more of a fan, and that's what he did. And Hank is more business.
To me, in baseball, and it shows you too, you got to go for it because you never know what your window is going to be. Look at the Cubs. 5 years ago, people thought the Cubs were going to be so good for years to come, and you just saw Schwarber. Obviously, he left as a free agent this year, but he got traded to the Red Sox, obviously. But you see them trade Baez, Rizzo, Bryant, all in about a 24-hour period. And that was the backbone of that 2016 World Series team. So you really need to go for it. And that's why, like with the Padres.
And I think the Nats were the same way with that. I think.
Yeah, no, they unloaded too, obviously, Trey Turner, Scherzer. Plus, I think once they got the news on Strasburg that he was going to be done for the year, I think they knew, hey, let's get rid of these guys. We're not going to re-sign them. Let's get what we can for them. Scherzer's also going to be 38. But it's a shame with the Padres because you go from – I like the Padres. That's a team that hasn't won a ton. Obviously last time they were in the World Series were against your Yankees, who were a dynasty back in the Tony Gwynn days in 1998. I want to see a team like that get a city like San Diego, who's very passionate about the Padres, a title. Right. And, you think you're getting
98 was the Padres?
Yeah, check it out. It was Padres Yankees. But you think you're going to get Scherzer on Thursday night. That falls, he goes to the Dodgers, and now Tatis separates his shoulder. And they said if it isn't looking better after this little 10-day stint on the injured list, Coach, they will be doing season-ending surgery on Tatis, which, look, you got plenty of years to come on Tatis, but tough because the Padres were looking like one of those teams.
You're right.
I'm always right. That could compete for a title this year. And, if he's out for the rest of the year, now I think it's a 2-dog race probably in the National League, and that's between the Giants, who picked up Chris Bryant, and obviously the team who I think is the runaway favorite in the Dodgers. But still, let's not forget with the Dodgers. A lot of successful teams, but the only year they got it done was last year in a shortened seasoned year. I still think there's going to be pressure, and you still got to go win it. And I'm not sold that the Dodgers can.
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah, and Sammy brings that up, unwritten rules, and I agree. And Coach, I just bought the MLB ticket because I'm a degenerate gambler, and they had a good price on it, so I bought it to watch it. And I know you're staunch against this, Coach. They got to get rid of umpires. It's so bad, inconsistent, Coach. It's going to happen. And you know what, Coach? I pray it's to your stinking Yankees, and it's 3-2 bases loaded, and they're down by a run, and there's this pitch that's so horrible that it's what's going to happen in a big spot, like Vinny T type play. Remember when Vinny T he fumbled, he was short of the end zone, and they called it a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be something like that that's going to happen in a big spot in the playoffs, and they're going to get rid of the whole – because these umps, Coach, I've been watching a lot of games. It's so bad. Some of these are so bad. If you're at least consistent as an umpire, and even if it's not a strike, but you're calling it consistent, these guys are terrible. They got to get rid of it. They just got ball. I mean, you have the damn thing there now. It's ball or strike. I don't need coach error, human error. We don't need a guy like you sitting back there messing the games up.
But also, but you here because you're not a baseball guy. I don't even think you ever played baseball in your life.
I played baseball.
Were you catcher in Little League? Were you the catcher in Little League?
The equipment couldn't fit me, to be honest with you. So, and that's the truth. I had a hell of a gun now. I could hit the ball.
But listen, here's the thing, though.
I don't like it.
But here's the thing. These guys are professional because I even see it at the lower levels is that they teach these kids, here's a spot. So if you think you set that up, they know, dude, you're going to see football scores in baseball games. Because they're professional hitters. They know where the strike zone is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying to you. When you know that's a ball and it's a big spot in the game and he calls it a strike and you get rung up, I'm telling you, Coach, it happens way too much. Mark my word. It is going to happen in a big spot and it's going to change. And we can just disagree on it. That's fine.
Right, that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
But here, what I would propose is I don't understand why baseball and football can't be like tennis. They have the chip in the ball. You know if it's in why we were measuring for first downs. You know what I'm saying? But also, if you have that chip, you have a better saying of where the ball is.
Okay, and there you go. Give me this then. If you want to have it, fine. But it's funny you said that because that's what I was going to say. One thing, in tennis, I think they have 2 or 3 challenges. Then you should have 2 or 3 challenges on pitches that you should be able to call in a game. If you think,
I agree with that.
Why not? Okay with that. Hey, I think that's.
I'm okay with that because you're making that.
If it's a big spot, that's why I hate.
It's a big spot, and I agree with that.
Yeah. So. Give me that. That would make me fine. Where you have 2 or 3 a game that you save, and if you're in one of those huge spots in a game, But you know how it is, Coach. Too. One of those pitches, if you're 1-0 and it's called a strike and it's a ball,
I agree, Sam. Game already takes 5 hours.
No, I know, Sam, but I agree. But that's what I'm saying. If you get rid of the ump and it's just, hey, it's a ball or a strike, or you do the 3 challenges, and Sammy. You're 100% right. I'm just trying to get rid of these dopey umpires. But the game is too long. Guys like this dope over here that go and ruin the game. You want to get in the football now? We can finally. But
you want to just skim over the NBA free agency?
No, we can get that at the end when we'll get to the meat and potatoes.
We won't get.
And we'll
to
talk
it
about the finals too.
But it is what it is. Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
What do you want to start with, Rodgers? Can we start with Wentz?
We can go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine because it's Wentz. He's still screwing Philly on the way out of town. I mean,
man, and not just that. I bet on the Colts to freaking win over. I think it's over 9.5 games. I figured they were 11-5 last year. You know what I mean? You get Wentz. You get add a game to the year. There's 17 games, not 16 this year. I figured it's a lock. And now he hurts his foot in the first week. And coach, too. Quentin Nelson, too. Same injury.
Yeah, same injury.
He's out as 5 to 12 weeks,
he
too.
Is, yes.
And they start their season off, too. Rams, Seahawks, I think. But their first 5 games, all against playoff teams. So the Colts are in trouble. And look, Sammy, coach will tell you, I was a huge Wentz guy. I was, and man, if this isn't just for the Eagles, proof that once again they made the right decision. And man, if you're a Colts fan, are you saying, oh no, did we?
And all I keep hearing, from the national heads is, Nick Foles. Why aren't you getting Nick Foles and bringing Nick Foles in? Well. My part of that is why didn't the Colts bring him in last year? I mean,
well, you had Rivers. You had Rivers, and
played well.
healthy.
He did. He played,
Yeah.
and he was healthy. He played well.
Yeah,
So,
but the thing is, Coach, with Wentz this year, and if I'm Frank Reich and I'm in this room, Foles is the third quarterback over there, and I'll bet you money too. He'd take a pay cut to come take this job. I would sit Wentz down and say, "Look,
suck it up, Buttercup.
we want to win a Super Bowl. I stuck my ass on the line for you. I went out and I brought you in. I don't care about your feelings. We're going to get Nick Foles. You're still my guy. If you can't beat Nick Foles out when you're healthy, then your problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look, and I understand there's a history there, but like we've said, you never know how long your window's open. And the Colts have wasted the last 2 or 3 years because they have underappreciated the number one position in football, the quarterback position. And that's why they went and got Wentz.
Wait. I don't think they underappreciate. I think the year one is they got blindsided with luck.
Right.
And then next year, the following year, they went
Rivers
with
wasn't
the answer.
Right.
So,
But here's the thing. I'm going and getting Foles, okay? But look, if Foles don't work, but there's nobody better. He knows your system. He can come in. Foles is a great backup quarterback. And then look, and I agree, Stiz, and it's I don't know. I don't know if he can come back. I really don't. I know you said it's, but I just wonder. It's an uphill battle for him because of all the injuries in his head, where the confidence is he's at. I can say this. I don't think he's ever going to return to the form he was when he was at the Eagles at the top. That 1 year, where they won the Super Bowl. That's not ever going to happen. But could he be a productive quarterback? That's still to see. But man, I gotta wonder: is this now opening the door? Does Aaron Rodgers possibly go to Indianapolis next year? Because if I'm right, because they traded for Wentz, I don't think there's a cap hit if they just cut him.
No, because Eagles took all the hit.
Right.
So basically, it's only costing them, I want to say, $17 or $18 million to have him, and they can cut him. It's because they said a 2-year experiment, and it's not costing them anything.
Put Rodgers on this Colts team looks pretty damn good, don't you think? And trust me, if you're a Colts fan now, you're already saying, me and Stiz talked about it, for the fantasy football impact of it. A guy like Jonathan Taylor was high on people's lists. Stiz said top 7 to 9 pick. Now you lose your quarterback. Now you lose your best offensive lineman. He's really going down the draft boards because they're going to stack the run to stop him, or stack against the run to stop him. And yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
the snaps, 3 sacks. Great stats, Stiz. And that's what I'm saying. And look, they got a kid, Jacob Eason, who
hasn't
went
taken
to
an
Georgia,
NFL snap.
Right? That went to Washington.
Right.
So to me, you gotta. I think you gotta bring Foles in.
Because if I remember correctly, Fromm beat him out and he transferred. And
Correct.
Where's Fromm? Fromm's a backup in Detroit right now.
Correct. No, right. And look, I just think it's so. Look, you can ask Stiz, and you might have been there too. Or no, when I heard about Wentz, right away I brought up Foles. It's got to happen. And it's, look, Carson Wentz might have the weirdest NFL career ever and the worst luck, in a sense. But it makes sense. Reich won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. It's the perfect placeholder. And look, is there a chance? Let's say he goes into the Colts and the Colts start great. Yeah, you know what? If I was 6 or 7-0 with Foles, I might not, and I had the magic, I might not put Wentz in either. Because you don't just like when Brady took over from Bledsoe, and Brady was a second-year player, and Bledsoe had the $100 million contract.
Let me put this up. Yes, this.
Yeah, but no, I think you got to try. And look, Carson needs to stop. And I don't know if there would be an issue, but he needs, I'm tired of him getting coddled. And that's part of the problem with the Eagles. Frank Reich needs to do what's best for the Colts.
Right.
And right now, that's bringing in Nick Foles to be a placeholder in a sense to win some games for the Colts.
Right, because he knows the system. He knows what Frank Reich's going to do.
Perfect.
And
they have a good relationship. I know there's the shadow crap, but
yeah, but isn't he still being paid by Chicago? So he would have to get traded. He would have to get traded.
But he's the third quarterback for Chicago.
Yes,
yeah, but they'll do it. And like I said, I think Foles would take a pay cut too, because he knows you got Justin Fields and Andy Dalton in Chicago. There's no hope there. I believe he takes that pay cut, and it just makes sense. So make the trade. Who cares about Wentz's
feeling? 6th, 7th round pick. What are you going to give up? Nothing for him.
That's what I mean. And like I said, at least you got a guy that can come in, run the offense. Could you have a quarterback issue? Yeah. But to me, that's a good problem. If he comes in and plays well, and then you got to question the whole Wentz Foles thing, that's a good problem to have. You know what? And if Wentz can't take it, then you're not meant for the NFL. The NFL is a pressure cooker, man, and you should be competing for your job all the time. And that's the way of the world. I mean, look at San Francisco now. They're already talking about Trey Lance looks great. He's nipping it. I think we all knew eventually that job was going to go to Trey Lance anyway. But I got a feeling we could see it game one.
And I tell everybody this, when I was coaching high school with, Sammy, he'll tell you, I used to tell these guys, when I walked in the locker room, I used to call the depth chart the stock exchange.
Yeah.
Because people's names moved constantly. You walk in, you might be 4th, and the next thing you know, you come back after lunch, and the next thing you know, you're 8th. You're like, how did that happen? But but it happens, and you got to go out and bust your ass 100% every day. So we'll that's going to be a huge eye on that. And where I keep in my eye is up in New Jersey. Big fight broke out in camp. Love it. I love it, man.
Yeah, but Judge, you don't love it when your quarterback's on the bottom of the pile.
That's true too. You don't want your quarterback in there, but hey, it's DJ. You better suck it up, Buttercup, because you better start, because right now, the grumblings are Kenny Golladay and they're not meshing. We spent all this money. What's going on with that? So,
No, but Sammy, like Coach said, I do too. I love competition. I think that's part of the problem why we see these injuries now. Look, I'm not saying you need to be 1970s football, 2-a-days, killing these guys, but you need to hit. Right. You got to hit. You need physicality. You need competition. You need to get these guys going in the trenches. You need to get, those muscles worked out. Like, you can't just roll in week one, playing flag football and say, all right, let's go play the NFL.
And it's funny when, like you said, 79, but this was 83 with the Giants. I don't remember them ever doing any kind of non-contact, drills, wait, I'm sorry. What are you saying? Could you get them on the line and discipline? Right. Yeah. Yeah,
but you know what? Though? You love the competitive spirit, though.
Right.
You don't want guys fighting and messing with the chemistry of a team or possibly hurting each other. But you love competitive spirit.
Right. That you get fired up, but at the end of the day, you shake hands and go at it again. It's not that's going to carry on and you got a grudge for a while.
Sometimes too, there's guys on offense and defense that don't necessarily get along. But as long as you can come together as a team, it is what it is. Plus, man, have a little pride. Like I know with me, man, the old Oklahoma's drills. Yeah. I didn't want my big ass getting knocked behind and them running back going past me. If I got beat, I was like, let's go right back out there. Like,
and now here, wait, man. I got a quick Sammy story I'm going to share because you brought up Oklahoma, and I was going to bring that because I remember I come in and we had a couple of freshmen who thought they were a little big for their britches and thought that they should be moved up to the varsity level. And I remember that Sammy and a couple other guys were like, okay, they got in, and you guys call it Oklahoma. We used to like to call it Lover's Lane. Mm-hmm. And so they got in the lane, and let me tell you, I think Sammy knocked that kid's teeth through his ass a couple of times. And that was the last you heard of him asking to get up to the next level because he knew he right there he got his lunch handed to him.
Well,
and
there's no escape
that
in
was
there, man.
Sammy tractor trailer. Let me tell you, and I'm going to say this because Sammy,
you're in the phone booth there, Coach.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean?
You're in the phone booth. You're right. And Sammy probably played down. Probably should have went and played at a bigger school than what he did at the next level. Sammy, I still think that because you had that talent, you could have been up a notch or two. So yeah, but and as that with you, Sammy, also you got to remember that I think the quarterback for the Washington football team got in the league when you were still like not even playing peewee football yet. I want to say he's been in the league forever. Okay. And and there's a reason why what is he, a 9-10 team that he's going to in his 14 years? He's been a lot.
Well, the biggest problem with Fitzpatrick are the highs and the lows.
Right. It is valleys. Valleys. Right. There's no blips. It is boom, boom.
He's your prototypical backup quarterback. He can come in and give you 3 or 4 games at a high level and win you games. But then he can also have 2 or 3 games at just a stinker. Like I said, there's times Fitzpatrick can play at a top 5, top 10 quarterback level, but then, the next week he'll throw 4 interceptions and look terrible. He's usually very good in September, so that's good for you, Sammy.
Right.
But what he does need to realize is you have probably what I would say is the 3rd best defense in football behind the Rams and the Steelers. Play to your defense, run the football, don't make mistakes, try to make a couple plays a game. You got McLaren outside at receiver.
But see, the
Redskins have talent.
And that's great. But look, I think Fitzmagic is going to see that talent on the outside and is going to want to throw the football. Because you got to know that those veterans going to come up and look, I checked out of it. That should have been a run. I checked out of it, and it winds up being pick 6. I'm telling you,
Yeah, well, look, the NFC East is going to be is going to be real close this year. And I think
agree.
A lot of people, I'm telling you, everybody's sleeping on the Eagles. The Eagles are a lot better than people think. This Eagles defensive line, I heard, is doing really well in training camp. Look, they went, Samuel contend. Ryan Kerrigan's a player, man, and he's on that Eagles defensive line. They also got that young kid, Milton, who they drafted. He's a stud. He's a little spark plug. I like him on the defensive line. I really think the Eagles are going to surprise some teams. Don't love the linebacker situation, but they also go in and get Nelson from the Steelers to add to that secondary. They also draft Zach McPherson, who supposedly looked pretty good. I think the Eagles are going to be a lot better than people think. The biggest question mark is Jalen Hurts. And so can Jalen Hurts perform? I like the Eagles line. Supposedly Malata's come out and taken that left tackle job.
I saw that too. Yeah.
I don't know if Dickerson's going to be able to play right away. I'd like to see him at left guard. But I really think the Eagles' offense and defensive lines are going to be superb. We know that you win the game up front, obviously. So I think the Eagles got a shot, and I really think a lot of people are sleeping on the Eagles this year. And the biggest question is going to be, to me, and that's what you got to wait and see. If the 2 biggest questions, because I like the team, it's the coach and the quarterback. And look, obviously, you need the coach and the quarterback. But if Sirianni can coach well and Hurts can just do his thing and manage the football team, I think the Eagles are going to be a lot better than people think.
Yep. And listen, Sammy, it doesn't matter that you're going to have protection and throw the deep ball. I don't think the deep ball's there as it used to be. It's still deep, but it's not deep enough. I'm telling you, that's what you're going to run into. Is he wants to throw the ball deep, and his arm's not going to let him throw it that deep. I'm just saying. You'll see. I mean, it is what it is. That's why he's on his 9th or 10th team in 13 years.
Too, about Kerrigan 4.5 sacks, but Kerrigan does that too, and he only plays like a third of the snaps. He's not getting a ton of snaps, so he's making plays, and he's not on the field a ton. So I see him playing that Chris Long role for the Eagles, and I'm excited about him. I think he's a good veteran to have your team. You already got Brandon Graham. A lot of whispers about Josh Sweat really looking good for the Eagles. So Fletcher Cox, I'm hoping, has a bounce back year, because last year was not $100 million player type year for Fletcher Cox. We need more of that out of him. He's the backbone of that defense. So we will see what he does. But I'm excited about the Eagles. What
about is Zach Ertz opening day Eagle? Is he on the opening day roster?
I don't know. I mean, I really think they're not going to give him up for nothing. I think they want compensation they consider is fair. I mean, look, everything's coming in that he looked great. I mean, he was hurt last year. Right. I mean, this is the guy who was a perennial top 5 tight end, and, he was hurt last year. Do I know why he didn't play as well? No. Was injuries part to do with it? Yes. Do I think he's also lost a step a little bit? Yes. But I still think he's a productive player in the NFL who can grab you 60 to 70 catches, get you, 6 or 7 touchdowns and get you 800 yards. And in the tight end world, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's not a lot of these 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown tight ends out there. And I don't exactly trust Alex Goddard. So I'm fine if Ertz is on this team. The only thing I would like is, if you don't think you're going to compete for the playoffs, I maybe trade him just to keep that cap room for next year and move on. But, yeah, if you're not getting a 4th-round pick or better, what's a 5th-round pick? You know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
I mean, I think Ertz, might be a nice little you know how there's quarterbacks. They love to go to the tight end. Goddard's been hurt a lot. Maybe they're hoping Ertz can be Hurts's safety line. So that's really big to look at. And then Stiz said, Sammy, are you worried about Curtis Samuel's groin injury? He was a great pickup, but I'd be a little nervous. Yes, he is a great pickup, especially to play with Terry McLaurin. I like that Redskins offense.
Washington football team.
Well, sorry, the WFTs. I like the weapons. I'm not in love with the offensive line. I really think they could improve the offensive line. But I would definitely be worried about that. And that's the other thing. I'd be worried about protecting Fitzpatrick, obviously, too, because Fitzpatrick, when he gets pressure, that's when he starts putting the ball in the air, and that's when you start seeing the interceptions. So, Coach, you want to get a little bit into the Rodgers situation?
Yeah, I would like to, because I just feel, I applaud Rodgers for just speaking his mind and saying, because I find it a little comical that then all of a sudden the GM comes out later and contradicts everything that Aaron's saying. Right. And I think it just makes you look more like an ass than it does.
I thought Aaron Rodgers had put it really well. I thought he had a great press conference. I think he spoke to I think he said the truth. Some people are saying he looks arrogant because he said people aren't coming to play in Green Bay, the city. They're coming to play with him.
Right, but they are. But he's right. What else are you going there for?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going there because you're getting extra deals. Like if you go to New York, you got all that, there's plenty of money to be made off the field. What are you doing in Green Bay to make extra money? I'm sorry. You're going there to play with Aaron Rodgers.
About you're not in Miami. You know what I mean? Right. Where the nightlife's great. You think freaking Green Bay makes Cleveland look like Miami. That's how bad Green Bay is. But, one thing a lot of people have said, the Packers have won. And that's one thing I really disagree with. Look, I think Rodgers is winning. I think Rodgers knew what he was doing. People think, oh, no, he won it out this year. If he won it out this year,
he wouldn't have came back. Wait a second.
But hold on. He would have come out in February or March. If he wanted out this year, he'd have come out in February or March and said, I want out. He did it the night of the draft. Why? Because that's what happened to him. He got blindsided on the night of the draft that they took Jordan Love. So he blindsided them. This is all about positioning him. I said before, Coach, about getting out next year.
Right.
He wants to play one more year. It could be his swan song, and then he's out. And he wants to see these teams to start lining up, preparing to get him next year, whether it's the Colts, Eagles, the Denver Broncos, the Vegas
Giants.
Raiders, the Giants. No, but that's possible.
Right.
Danny Jones fails this year. That's possible. So that's one of these teams. And trust me, look at what Brady's done now, and he turned 44 today. Happy birthday to Tom Brady.
Happy birthday, Tom Brady.
If you get Aaron Rodgers at 38, you don't think the teams are going to line up? There's going to be, people doubted Brady, and look, he's going to be playing when he's 45. He's going to, so a lot of suitors will be there for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's winning. I mean, look, he's going to play one more year, and I think, they voided his contract for 2023, so he is under contract for next season still, but I think, he can force his way out if he wants. He knows what he's doing. I think it was a good move by him, and I think he'll get what he wanted. He'll get what he wants, and that's to get out after next year or this year.
Well, also people don't realize that the NFL gave guys an out again this year. He could have pulled the COVID thing, and he still would have made his guaranteed money, whatever that was. He could have sat home and made $25 million or $30 million, whatever it is, and not played it down. And nothing anybody could have done because he said, I'm opting out because of COVID.
Right.
So why not do that? Yeah, Sammy, I could see him go to Washington because
Washington is one of the teams that he's rumored to go to. And I think that's one of the teams that could be really interesting with that defense and then those young type weapons. I think that's one of the teams that would be interesting. But now, Coach, do you think he necessarily lost? I don't. I think he got what he wanted. I think he knew.
I agree.
He knew he wasn't getting traded this year because you got the draft that night. Right. Nobody was going to be able to pull a move in 10 minutes. He would have done it before, so teams could have angled the night of the draft to trade for him.
Right.
I think he would have wanted to go to the Niners if because that was where he grew up a Niners fan.
Right.
So, and obviously they were taking Lance. So I think this was always about next year. And I don't think he gets along with the front office. I agree with what he's saying. He's basically saying, look, I'm an MVP. You should be using me as a recruiting tool to bring guys into Green Bay. I'm the face of the franchise. And look, he was prepared. How he brought up old guy, John Kuhn, Woodson, who they walked away from, Jordy Nelson. And look, some of them might have been good decisions not to pay them. But I think, there was a coach they got rid of that he was very close to. And look, that's what you can understand is he is your franchise quarterback. And you can sit there and say he's being a prima donna, but this goes on with all. Look, Brady's got his guys around. He's got Alex Guerrero. That was a big point of contention with him and Belichick was Alex Guerrero, his personal trainer or whatever.
Right.
They were more than Brady were starting to work out with him, and Belichick didn't like it per se. But look, these guys, they have huge egos, and I don't blame them. You know what I mean? They're millionaires. They're great at their craft. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah, and Sammy, his presser was fantastic. And I thought, he laid it out great. I understand if you're a Green Bay fan, if you're maybe not happy with him, but I'd be more pissed at the organization than Aaron Rodgers.
I would too, because you were, how dare you? You're probably a receiver away from winning the NFC Championship, and you go and trade up and get a quarterback.
Right.
Who's not going to play. Your first round pick has to be a plug and play guy. Yeah. That's why I'm upset with the Giants. He is not a plug and play guy, the receiver the Giants drafted. You have all these other pieces you went out and piled on, and then you draft the same position where too much traffic. Don't think he's going to see the field a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think, obviously, and look, too, if you're going to make that kind of decision, you let Aaron Rodgers know about it. And that was another stupid move that you call him up, you let him know what's going on. But look too, and I thought the other thing he said that was great too was, they offered me more money. They tried to throw money at him, and he said,
"Nope." Look, Stiz, I don't think so, because unless that team has a lot of cap space, because I think Devontae wants to get paid. He wants to get paid. So
that's going to be the question, Stiz. I'm real curious to see about that, because though I wonder, Adams does want to get paid, but man, if I'm Adams and you don't know that Rodgers is here next year, do you sign on the dotted line? I don't know if I do. Right. I would want to wait, and if he goes,
let them franchise me for the year to see how that works out. And
I would want to go to another team. I don't know that they could go together, but like I said, I think Rodgers is orchestrating for next year, and I think you're going to see him on the Browns, the Colts, one of these teams that's right there,
quarterback away.
Washington, the Giants. I think the Eagles is a possibility. Don't sleep on the Eagles.
I'm not going to sleep on them, but I think Jalen Hurts is, if you use him correctly and not make him, I just remember back with Randall Cunningham, they kept trying to not make him that pocket passer, which he wasn't. He was so much better, as when he was on the move and rolling out. And you saw that in kind of in Minnesota later on in his career. But I mean.
And Stiz, there's a lot of Raiders, Devontae Adams rumors, I think, because they played with his car in college maybe or something, or they played at the same college or whatever. But no, like Devontae, I mean, I guess if they offer him a boatload of money, he's going to sign a deal. I think he said that if he gets he wants to be the highest paid receiver in football. So they're going to have to bank the Brinks truck up, which I don't know that they're necessary to do, because the backers aren't known for that. But I wouldn't sign, because with no Rodgers, man, his production is going to go down. I know this, Stiz. Would you be drafting him with Jordan Love as quarterback if Aaron Rodgers isn't there? I sure wouldn't be. So that's the big question. And that way, obviously we will have to wait and see. And Coach, you were saying about Hurts. One thing I want to bring up too is with him, I think he's gonna have the shortest leash you've ever seen. I really do. I think he's got 1 year. I think he's got 1 year to prove himself. And if he doesn't, I think they're moving on. I really do. I think it's
probably right. It's unfortunate, because I think if like you say, their offensive line is probably a top 5 offensive line in the league, and they get back to that running game.
Yeah, if healthy.
It takes a lot of pressure off of him. Yeah. And, because I'm sorry. I said this a lot through Doug's tenure in Philadelphia. It's just like Andy Reid. He forgets about running the football. He just forgets about it. It's like, nope, almost like I feel like not as bad as like Sean Payton. I feel like when Sean Payton is running his offense and something doesn't work, he kind of forces it. He keeps forcing it to like, this should work. I'm going to do it again and again until it happens. And you see, and I think that was a lot of times you saw the Saints falter. And I kind of almost that way with Doug in Philadelphia and Andy too.
I'll tell you, you don't see many Super Bowl winning head coaches come on the market and don't get even interviewed. So that shows you that.
But also, wait a second now. In his defense, he got let go, and there was only one job.
There was openings, though.
There wasn't openings.
Yes, there was.
As assistant coach, there was no head coaching job.
He interviewed for an offensive coordinator position. Go look it up.
Offense, but that's different. I said offense. Not you. I'm talking
How many
about
Super Bowl winning coaches would he even interview for an offensive coordinator position?
I agree with that. If I was Doug, I would take a year off.
Well,
because I'm sure we're going to see Doug probably on Fox or NBC.
When Andy went, I don't know about that, but Andy, he lost his job. He had a job in 3 days. So I don't think Doug's is revered. I think they feel like, he had a hand in the Carson Wentz mess. And I think they wonder if Doug kind of leaned on Frank Reich a lot. And, I mean, look, he won a Super Bowl. You can't take it away from him.
Right.
But I think they look at it and said, man, he had Jim Schwartz. because look at Schwartz too. He got out of there, which I think
Mm-hmm.
that was more the Eagles organization than Doug. You know what I mean? Schwartz said he wanted to retire, and then all of a sudden takes a job 2 weeks later. Wanted to think about it. So a lot of question marks, but we'll see what happens. I'm ready, man, to get this. Football's this Thursday.
This Thursday? I thought it was Saturday. The enshrinement.
No, it's Thursday. I think the Cowboys play Thursday.
Really? I will have to look it up.
I'll look it up right now. But the one thing that's exciting is there are no more Sundays without football now. There are no more. What did somebody say something? Yeah, Thursday, August 5th, Dallas, Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. Okay. But
clothes racks. That's a bike. Whoa. That's a bike.
That's a bike.
That collects dust.
Yeah, that's why I can't see him. He's a little choked up. It's all that dust flying around off that bike back there. So,
but yeah, no, I can't. Obviously, excited for football to start.
Billy
joins the party.
Welcome.
Get ready
to the
for
party,
the Eagles, Billy. Eagles are going to do good this year. Well, Billy, I'm sure Billy's happy Wentz is hurt. We know Billy was never a huge Wentz fan. Billy, how great would it be if the Colts trade for Foles and he goes to the Colts and then Wentz has got to worry about the Foles situation again?
Dust and laundry. But yeah, it would be great. So, and by the way, guys, phone line's open. It's up and running tonight. As I wait until the end of the show. I wait until the end of the show.
Don't tell people at 6:56 when the show ends at 7. Phone line's on tonight, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious with Wentz. I'm hoping it's more to 5 weeks than 12 because I just want to see. I really want to get a look at Wentz and see what.
No, you just want the first round pick.
I do.
First round pick.
Wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and here's the thing: it's going to be a low second round pick because they're going to get
70% of the games. So if he plays I did the math. If he plays like 11 to 12 games, they got a shot.
Yeah, but 70% of the snaps, not the games. Snaps.
That's what I'm saying. So some games are longer than others. It could be 10 games. But no,
that's
we'll
right.
see.
Billy can't make the club in the tub, baby.
Hey, man, this injury supposedly happened in high school. Let's not.
Yeah, there you go. High school.
What's up with that though? Like, okay,
how did you get this far?
But how did you not know about it?
Right. How did you get this far? How did you get this far and not know? So.
Yeah, Billy, it probably is. But man, if you're an Eagles fan, a lot of fans are like, well, at least we don't have to deal with it no more. We're moved on from the situation. And if you're a Colts fan, you only gave up a second round pick, so you're not like losing sleep over it. But still, the Colts are now in the situation where this is similar to the Andrew Luck situation, where you're getting ready to start the season and you don't got your quarterback.
Well, let me ask you, how big would Philly be blowing up right now if Carson Wentz was still an Eagle? Like this was supposed to be his rebound.
If him back this year, and they would have said one more ride. I mean, are you kidding me? It would have been going crazy already. Oh my God. The Walt Whitman Bridge would be lined up with people like me getting ready to dive off it. It would have been bad. But like everybody knew it was the end. And it's really starting to look bad. I don't know. Now people wondered about. Everybody thought, mentally, can Carson Wentz recover?
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to start wondering physically, can he recover? You know what I mean?
Right,
he's always hurt.
Played in so long, you're always getting hurt. You're right, man.
Physically, he has a lot of RG3 to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, RG3 teared his ACL and then never really returned to form. Wentz never returned to his MVP year type form. But still, 2 years ago, he threw 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions for a team with not a lot of talent on it. So, but yeah, this is just a huge fall from grace. And you got to know with Reich, too. I think he wanted to get him going and building some confidence. And, Yeah, it's not good.
Oh man. I'll tell you what, we'll see. We'll see how how the season plays out. I can't wait. So finally got some football to watch on Thursday, apparently.
Thursday. Yeah,
Thursday.
Cowboys. Well, you're not going to see anybody play, obviously. And once again, though, Dak is hurt already, too, with the shoulder strain. So we'll see what happens there. So that's the Hall of Fame game. So.
Right, the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah,
and
right.
Usually that's on a Saturday. I'm surprised they're doing
No,
it
usually it was on a Sunday. I don't know
Sunday,
why,
rather.
but yeah, they're doing it before. Great reporting as usual from the coach.
That's right.
Always on top of his game.
That's right. That's
like
right.
didn't know the Yankees and the Padres played in the World Series in '98. It's his own damn team.
How
did you forget about that?
Because they won so many. They won so many times during the 90s. There's so many of them. I forget. You forget when your team wins that often.
Yeah, well,
you wouldn't know anything about that.
Now. Yeah,
it has been. Listen, the teens and the 80s are the only 2 decades in Major League history the Yankees haven't won a title.
Yeah.
So,
Now, I guess you want to hold basketball off the next one.
You like that backdrop, Stiz?
He's in a halfway house right now, Stiz. So that's why you don't see any pictures. Coach got the ankle bracelet on. He's in a halfway house. Got detained for some
undisclosed
reasons. Yeah. Coach is in quarantine.
Yeah, I'm in quarantine.
Looks like he's at Sears. Yeah, that's possible. You know what I mean?
Sears, aren't they out of business? I don't think Sears is around anymore.
Coach is at Sears. Coach gets his tires at Sears. That's what Coach does.
You get more for your life at Sears. So you remember that?
Coach almost got beat up at Walmart. You saw everybody that's story there, Coach. Coach almost got his ass kicked at Walmart.
I certainly did not. So no, I think that they called security on me, but they certainly didn't. So. Stiz, it looks like he's at Sears.
We thought we were going to go see the coach down in Florida, but he's only there for another week. Oh, come on down whenever you want.
It's 2 weeks.
Smoke a cigar, get a filet, and the guy's only there till like August 8th.
No, I'm down till the 19th. What are you talking about? So
yeah.
And then I'll be ready for football to start. I got to get back in the swing of things back up north because we have a big, heavy football season schedule ourselves. Going to be doing some live location shows and stuff. So,
Are you doing the live game for Cape?
I don't know. They football starts late in Delaware, so I don't know. They haven't They usually wait until like 2 weeks before the season starts before they let you know.
Oh.
So.
But, they wait till everybody else turns down the job.
Yes. They ask everybody else, and then they come to me.
Coach, we get the worst guy possible.
Yeah. Oh man, we got to get Coach back. Christ, man, we got to deal with him again. Unbelievable.
The guy they won't give the job because he's not qualified.
That's right. I'm not qualified. So totally not qualified. I'm not even qualified to do this, but somebody
you're not. That's a definite.
So,
Stiz
somebody lets me
that,
do
right,
it.
Stiz? Stiz is still waiting for the countdown, so we'll see. He's counting down to the countdown.
Yeah, keep counting down. Maybe by the time you get on the season regular, which, by the way, we will be having Stiz on. We're going to do a little draft show coming up here.
A draft show? You already did that.
No. I mean
like fantasy football?
Yeah, fantasy football
we'll
draft. Come on, and really, as we get closer to the season, when those drafts start coming up, we'll have Stiz on and deal with that. So you could, because unlike other shows people tune into and stuff, if you tune into our show and you actually listen to Stiz and Nick and myself on occasion, you make some money. You'll make some money. I mean, we make people money around here. We don't just talk about making money, and you should do this. We have a proofs in the pudding. I mean, come on. And the numbers don't lie.
Coach last year was one of the best calls of the year when he said the first 2 Hawaiian quarterbacks to play each other in a game. I mean, that's the stuff the coach can pull out of his ass.
That's right. That's the last second, man. That's top-notch reporting. That's top-notch reporting, man. Come on now. So
but look, like I told Stiz, it's tough because I did. Me and Coach here, it's crazy, but this will be our third football season coming up, and going into last year being my second year, because we started off obviously with the Super Bowl, New England and the Rams,
right,
and it's pretty crazy because now, like I said to Stiz, you're 32-10 last year. Now the bar is real high.
yeah,
Now you got to come in and I think we all know he's not going to repeat 32-10, but still he set the bar pretty damn high. So the pressure's on. Like that's how I know it's with me. After I have my Chiefs call and that great year I had with us in where we were before.
yes, but
I had to
after
back
he
it up
flopped,
last year and stuff.
But just so you know, he almost got fired after the first show because he came on and he just choked all
lost
of his
one
picks.
game, and then I went on a run. I
Yep,
swear,
you did. You went on the run.
Stiz's record gets better every time we say. I swore it was like 28-10, then it was 30-10, now it's 34-10. Every year it's going to get,
it's going to be like 62-10, man.
Yeah. He's like Al Bundy with the 4 touchdowns, full high. We're going to call Stiz Bundy from now on.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So it should be fun and exciting, man. Big storm rolling in here down in South Florida, by the way. Get ready to
Stiz said check the tapes. I thought it was 32-10. You might be right though, Stiz.
It might be. So.
You might be right. We know Coach don't know, so we'll have to really.
I have no clue. I don't, but listen, you're the master of rewatching shows and taking stuff from other shows and tapes. So I mean, so that falls on you.
I still got to look up the Tommy Bouchane thing. It's $400 because I know I didn't bet him $400. Fuck you, Tommy Bouchane.
Oh, I can't wait. That's it's funny. Speaking of midget pirates, that's kind of funny. Yeah. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it works out, man. But everyone,
I'm hoping we run into him. That would be. I'd like to see that happen.
Awesome. It would be.
We'll have to put that on film for everybody. The showdown of Coach versus the Salty Pirates. It'd be great if he kicks your ass too. I can see it happening.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how that how it all plays out. We'll let everyone know. So, but listen, everyone, I appreciate everyone hanging out and checking out with us. You got anything else, Nevada Nick? I know you're.
I'm good, buddy.
So hopefully we're going to be back on our regularly scheduled time, probably Mondays. Yeah. And then as the season picks up, we'll do Thursday, Sunday, Monday, as we did last year. Now that we got things situated and straightened out, I think we should be good to go. So I appreciate everybody hanging out, checking in, and we're looking forward to an awesome football season. So we'll see. You got anxious to see what the Cowboys and what the new look, I guess, that offensive line from the Steelers, what they're going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously not going to see much game one, but still, I mean, that's a whole new line. I'm real curious as well, too, Coach.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll go from there. Remember, everyone, man, share it out there with your friends. Like the page. Go over to YouTube. Jump on, be part of the show. We appreciate you. So take care. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.